Throughout the history of our planet, people have told their stories of encounters with extraterrestrial beings. While some dismiss these claims as rambling of fools, others look at these stories with intrigue. What if these tales of interstellar travelers were true? With how massive the universe is, how could our single planet be the only one out of billions that could have developed life? With this point of view, the thought of alien visitors doesn't seem so far-fetched. Today we'll be looking at 5 intriguing stories of alien encounters from Reddit. Something in the field. About a year ago, I was out back with my family. It was about 8 and the sun was setting. We lived in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. The closest neighbor was really far away. Something down the field kept catching my eye, but I ignored it at first. My sister saw it too and kept looking towards the trees. She was getting freaked out by it. My mom said to go investigate, so me and my sister started to walk across the field towards the tree line. Big mistake. It's hard for me to describe. This was the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me. I didn't see it at first, and I didn't understand why my sister was so scared until we were about 100 yards away when I saw this creature. Tall, probably 8 or 9 feet, white, humanoid with an elongated head and no face. It had long arms and it peeked around the trees. We stopped in our tracks. We couldn't tell what it was. It took a few steps further out of the trees and swayed back and forth at me like a praying mantis. Me and my sister ran screaming back to the house, where my mom stood, jaw dropped. She saw it too. I'd never been so scared in my life. We grabbed the binoculars and watched this terrifying creature peek in and out of the tree line, spying on us. My grandma thought we all had a wild imagination. The sun was almost gone and it was getting really dark, and the darker it got, the more it moved, back and forth along the trees. It was terrifying, so we went in for the night and locked everything up tight. I couldn't sleep that night. I was hearing scratching on the roof, and at one point a very loud bang and various noises coming from the barn. I was very afraid that I'd wake up to my animals missing. The next morning my grandma asked if we heard the loud bang outside that night. She ended up taking my grandpa with her on her morning walk. I have no idea what it was, and it haunts me to this day. Roswell encounter. So last summer my band went on a West Coast tour and we had a show in Roswell. I was mad excited because I've been wanting to visit Roswell since I was little and checking out the same UFO book from the school library over and over again. Anyway, we explored the city and played the show, and it was a great experience. We had a long drive to Tucson to pick up a friend from the airport, so we decided to drive overnight as it would be the easiest way to make it there on time. I know it seems awfully convenient that something would happen in Roswell, and I had that in mind, because it would seem too easy to make up the story, but something happened for about 45 minutes outside Roswell once we started the overnight drive. I'm riding shotgun as our drummer is driving first shift. We're on these winding back road highways that are awesome and give us an immaculate view of the stars. So yeah, roughly 45 minutes away from Roswell, we are coming up to this bend in the highway, and to the left of our van we see a light. It appears to be a light on a barn, as we assumed it was someone's property in the woods, but that assumption quickly changed when the light started moving and keeping pace with the van. This bend was going to the right, so we weren't circling a light in the woods, and there wasn't an access road, so it wasn't a car. This light was just steadily keeping pace at us about 75 miles per hour and weaving in and out of the tree line. Sometimes it would move behind the trees and then just dart out from the trees, still effortlessly matching our speed. The light wasn't all that bright, or didn't shine out a lot of light. I don't know how to explain it, but it was this bright ball of light roughly the size of an exercise ball. It seemed really bright, but it didn't really light up anything around it. Even when it got about 15 feet from the side of the van, it was just there. At this point, our drummer and I are yelling, "What the fuck is that? Do you see this shit?" And then about after 30 seconds of following us, it stops dead in its tracks, about 10 feet off the ground, on the side of the road. No slowing down, just as if it hit a wall and immediately was stopped in its tracks. We kept driving, bewildered, and looked in the rearview mirror until the road took it out of view. Still no logical explanation as we talked about it for hours of what it could have been. Maybe there is one, but we couldn't figure it out. Still crazy to think about. Astral projection. I'm not entirely sure if this was an encounter, and if it was, I don't know what stage it would be, first, second, third, etc. I thought I would share this to keep it fresh in the memory banks. So this was about 6 or 7 years ago. I was super big on lucid dreaming and astral projection back then. I was the last one in bed with my ex. She's sound asleep. I'm ready to get my lucid dreaming on like I do every night. So I'm doing my thing and I notice a strange vibrating noise like a muffled engine or even a boat engine. But it was dense, if that makes any sense. Keep in mind I live like 15 to 20 miles from the nearest town against a large mountain, so I repositioned my head to be in the center of the vibration while staying comfortable. It had to have only been like 20 or more seconds when my eyelids started to uncomfortably spasm or twitch, I guess. I fight the urge to open them, then all of a sudden, this upside down water drop shape of a face with strong praying mantis features, at least in the eyes, showed up clear as day. It was definitely a gray, I'd say. But as it's there, all these different colored celestial worms or tracers were floating all around the side. There was a brief moment when I opened my eyes and realized this shit isn't normal, but I wanted to look because it was actually pretty. Its face slowly dissipates while the tracers are still there as they disappear a few moments later. Ever since then, I've had the most trouble trying to lucid dream. Practically impossible. It wasn't sleep paralysis because I was in control after I opened my eyes for that brief moment. Stargazing. I was sitting in a field with two friends stargazing after a smoke session, something we would do regularly, when we noticed this white glowing orb in the sky. Best way to describe the size is if you take a dime and hold it at arm's length away from you. It was flying in a curved path at a decent rate of speed. While we tried guessing what it could be, it made a 90-degree turn and flew over the horizon at incredible speed. It did this almost immediately after we pointed it out and tried to follow it with our fingers. Still have no clue what it could be. As far as my friends and I know, there aren't any aircrafts capable of such things. Should add this was back in 2006 or 2007, but seems how 3 people witnessed the same thing were convinced it was a UFO. Something outside. It all started 13 years ago. I was 11 years old. I was sitting on the front porch of my house at night because it was the only way I could get away from my noisy siblings. That night, though, was really cold, like -3 degrees Fahrenheit cold. I was about to head inside, but I heard a low-pitched, loud, and trumpet-like noise. It freaked the shit out of me, and I quickly ran. Not inside, but my dumbass ran into the quiet street. I don't know why, but I looked up in the sky and saw a bright, huge, triangle-shaped object, just floating about 4 inches from my head. I started to feel a burning sensation on my forehead. I froze, but really, what are you supposed to do? The next thing I knew, I went back inside, but it was 2 hours later. I have no proof to say if this is real, so I'm just gonna say it's real and you choose. To this day, I still don't know what that thing was, why it was there, what it wanted, and why it returned home 2 hours later. Thanks for watching my first video. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had any experiences with encountering aliens or UFOs or other weird stuff. I'd like to do some more videos about creepy stuff, so let me know what you'd like to see. I didn't write a script for this part of the video, so it's just all improvised and I'm terrible at improvisation. So yeah, bye.